Well, how about that, man? We are live. Going Bracket
We've never
Racing
been
YouTube
live on the
channel.
Facebook before, so we'll see how this goes. We're trying to record it over for you guys on YouTube, be able to watch it a little bit later. Um, just trying to work some bugs out of this. But George, man, we hadn't done one of these for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's the first time we've ever really went live to straight to the Facebook instead of recording our video or going live on YouTube and then uploading or presenting it through there. So certainly can't thank you guys enough for joining in. Hopefully we got a good topic for you. Handle a little clerical work first, of course. Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel, Going Bracket Racing Facebook crossed over 1,000 followers today. That's a big shout out and a kudos to you guys out there in the bracket racing world for following us, giving us those likes and shares, things like that. Keep us going. Casey and I can't thank you guys enough. We definitely want to get off into some clerical work there. We have to send a big shout out and thank you again. We don't know if you missed it or not, but we done a How To Tuesday on how to adjust the band. And I really can't say enough for Jeremiah Hall stepping in with us and giving a little time to us on a how to and even on the fluid levels. And so certainly shout out to Firecracker Performance. Thank you for all you do for the Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel. Certainly, if you're in the Indiana area or in any area for that matter, if you feel like you need some transmission help, I know that Jeremiah works pretty tough there at the Mitchell Transmissions with Firecracker Performance. He could definitely give you a hand with whatever you got going on. So definitely thank you very much for that. But definitely have to send a big time and a welcome. And thanks for coming on board to Rhino Classifieds. Not for sure if anybody actually knows much about Rhino thus far, but I promise you, I promise you, in the coming days, you're going to know more about them pretty soon. This is basically racing junk. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that the same guy behind Rhino completed or created Racing Junk as well. So we'll get off into their website here in just a moment, and I want to give you a real kind of a sneak peek at what they've got going on their website, and just give you an understanding of what they got going on over at Rhino. So while we do that here, let's take a moment to take a look at their site, Rhino. So you go on the site and say you have race car parts or something that you want to sell. It's pretty well set up exactly like we're familiar with in the drag racing world, where we can search for something here. Let's say we want to look at something drag racing. Let's just put in drag racing here, and of course it's going to give us what they have to offer or what people are selling in the area that we race in. I looked right off the bat and saw this pro stock. It looks like a Blazer. That's a top sportsman car, I think. It's a blue, and it's nice. And so it gives you enough room. I'm just going to slide in on this post real quick. It gives you enough room to give your synopsis here, and what they're looking for out of it and things like that. So a special site that they have going on at Rhino, and we can't thank you enough. If you guys want to check out their website, it's rhino.co. And to do so. So definitely want to give that a check, a look out there. So we also see on there a giveaway, and with most of the proceeds being donated to go to veterans and even children's homes there. So we definitely, if you guys are interested in entering into this to this drawing there at rhino.co, feel free to use the promo code GBR in there. And I think after $25 spent, he'll double your tickets into the drawing. And definitely that would be going towards a good cause. So definitely can't say enough to everyone. Thanks for the partnership there. And thanks for coming on board and helping us out. So yeah, Casey, a long time since we've been live, and what we got going on today?
Man, we're getting ready to talk about a topic that you and I have talked about just a million times. I mean, probably once a week we talk about this. What is the secret weapon for these big money bracket races? What are you going to use if you have money is no object? We're talking hypothetically here. if you could get whatever you wanted and you could run any of these races, you go to all the SFG races, you go all, to every single one of these races out there, what are you going to drive given the option to do anything? Like I'm talking, George, man, you can drive a fuel altered if you want. What are you picking?
Well, I'm definitely not picking a fuel altered. Uh, I want to win. I don't want to just give my entry fee money and then I don't want to pay for the fuel in that altered either. So it's not going to come as a shock to you, Casey. I've driven a left-hand steer roadster. I know a guy who has a real nice one. It's silver and purple. It kind of looks a little bit like that.
Does
And
does the owner
I,
does
I
the owner look a little bit like that too?
I think the owner, he may or may not know me quite well. Why would I pick that car? Um, it's really consistent, and so I like the vision that I get out of it. I can see really good out of that left hand steer car. Um, and I know I'm not the only one who's going to say left-hand steer roadster. So that is my personal opinion. I see Ken Jones in the chat. I don't know if anybody knows who Ken Jones' performance is, but if you don't, something's.
If
He
they
must have been asleep at the racetrack or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Ken Jones, welcome to the show, and I'm pretty sure he has a few weapons of choice that he'd like to use. Ken Jones, what would you like to use in your on your big money bracket racing as the most deadliest car to use? So certainly feel free to chat away, guys. We can see what you're saying in the comments here, and would love to dialogue with you. So yeah, no, Casey, left hand steer for me right off the bat. That's choice number one.
You got a choice number two?
I've
What's
got
choice number two?
I've got a few choices, Casey. Yeah, it just depends on how long you want to be here. We can talk about this all
Got
day
nothing
long.
else to do?
I myself am going to be driving a S10, and I'm gonna stop right there. I know this one guy. I know him real well too, and he just made a comment in our chat too. And man, he's got a real nice '82 Camaro. He might have even named it Black Panther. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. That might be the name of that car. And he says that's his secret weapon is that Black Panther, and it is pretty secret. And that car runs awesome. I've seen it on Motor Mania. I don't know how many times. I've seen it in person, maybe once or twice at one of these races. I do believe. Kevin Little, thanks for coming in and stopping by and saying what's up. Definitely give a good shout out to that '82 Camaro. That's a bad ride right there. Casey, option number two for me, I think I have an S10 truck that I'm going to be driving for the next couple of years probably, and I'm going to call the S-Dime probably my second deadliest weapon. I would say that speed-wise, I'm probably going to be running 590s. That's perfect for me. I think 590 is probably right around where I'd like to be. Um, I like the idea of not too fast but not too slow. I like to chase a little bit. You can chase me if you want to. It doesn't bother me. But anytime I can get a little bit of chase going on, that's fine too. So that's option number two for me, Casey, is the OS down.
Man, I've made a lot of runs, man, and this is gonna blow. Well, it's not gonna blow your mind because I've told you this several times, and I don't think you necessarily believe me. And that makes sense because we all want to go fast, right? And I guess I could build a 427 for my 427 big block, not small block, 427 big block for the Chevelle. Had me or a for the Nova. Sorry, that was another car. The Nova, and I could go real slow with that. But I'm thinking, man, I'm telling you, the slow door car. I'm telling you, that is the secret weapon to these big money bracket races. The problem is it's so hard to make a slow door car consistent. But in my opinion, if you can hit the tree and you have a slow door car, there's a lot of guys that chase 6.0 door cars in dragsters. There's a lot of guys that are used to being chased in 6.0 door cars by dragsters, even 650 door cars or 540 door cars. That's all pretty common. But I'm talking, man, I am talking a 7.90 dial in for a door car, and I'm going to just pretend I'm late every single time, and I'm going to run with the dragsters every single time, because if I'm 00, if you're dialed 490, you got 3 seconds on me. I can tell you for a fact I have done this before in a 470 dragster, And we're both guessing. I'm guessing and you're guessing. So we're making a time run. So let me tell you something. If you don't have any faith in yourself at the finish line, get you a slow door car. I'm telling you.
A
I'm telling you.
790 door car, huh? And
790 door car.
are you punching the brake through the firewall, or are you just gonna just hit as hard as you can at the finish line?
I mean, I don't want to stop before I get to the finish line.
You're going slow enough, aren't you?
You know, I mean, my Duramax might be able to run that.
Hey, check this out. We got another comment in the chat here from Sean Pinkerton there, and he says, with separation of door cars and dragsters, I think your 6.1 to 6.6 door cars seem to be successful.
That makes
And
me feel
that's
right where I'm at.
I'd have to. Man, you were at 790. All right, this is 6.6.
Well, that's where I'm
got a whole
personally
nother
at,
second.
though. I mean, that's my theory. That's just my theory.
No, I don't know about the 790 car, but I can get with Sean where he's saying this separation. You're gonna race door car until you get towards the finals anyway, and 6.1 to 6.6. I see, and historically we have seen through Motor Mania, through whatever race we're watching, we've seen the 6-second cars dominate the field, dominate them.
Yes.
Chevy 2s, I don't care what it is, they do a lot of dominating.
Well, let me tell you this, man. So here is my other theory. If you have a cheaper car, whatever it may be, whatever's cheap to you, like some guys make $1 million a year, some guys make 30 grand a year, like whatever is cheap to you. The point is that you know how you have a better chance of winning that race? First of all, you already have whatever car you have. Let's say all else constant, your car's good, whatever it is. Let's just say you got a good car. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, you can make anything good, but you know what makes you have a better chance? Buying more tech cards. And you can buy more tech cards if you don't spend as much money on your car.
That's a good point. I mean, you got fuel money, you got money to get there, you got buyback money. It makes it a little easier if you got a little money in your pocket, basically what you're saying.
Right. And I mean, and that's all relative too. Because like I said, the guy that makes 30 grand a year, maybe he has the 790 door car I'm talking about. Maybe he spent the time to make that car good though, and figure out the car and know like the air just doesn't feel right now. I think I'm going to slow up. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Maybe he figured that out. Well, the thing is that guy still, if he only has a $10,000 car, the other guy might have a $150,000 car or 4 of them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the thing is if you can buy that extra tech card, you got that extra shot that he doesn't have.
True.
That's what you want more than anything. You want that extra tech card, in my opinion.
That's true. Of course, we go back to the beginning of this where you said money wasn't technically an option. So,
yeah. No, it wasn't an object.
Well, it's not an object. We've got all the money in the world. I'll go back to that purple and silver 63 Corvette Roadster, and it runs. I've been in the 20s with that car, 520s, and so with the separation, for the most part, I am the aggressor, and I do like being out, coming with the car out in front of me, getting to look at it and kind of get a little bit better of a judgment without having to take a look behind me here and see if there's somebody back there. So as far as speed, are you saying that you think the faster cars are at a disadvantage, or do you have a kind of room in your heart for let's just even go to the 460s. Let's go to the 5 flat door car. Leave the 460s out for now. Let's go to the 5 flat door car. What do you see as a deadly weapon comment to that 5-second car?
I would say more than anything is now that they're separating door cars and dragsters, I would say 90% of the time at least. I mean, it's definitely an advantage to have the faster door car. Number one, because you're always fast on the door car side. Number two, because a chassis car anymore, like a good chassis car like the Chevelle my dad's building right now, that car more than likely will actually be better going sub 450 than it will be going 490. Like it will actually be a better car because it flexes the chassis better. But in my opinion, if they're going to separate door cars and dragsters, you're always better off being the faster door car. And I also think that it messes up the dragsters because one of our family friends, I guess, Rod Schaefer, he used to spray his Firebird a lot of the time. He had a 632 Big Chief motor, and it'd run 5.0s or so, maybe I think 490s in good
Yeah,
air on
using
the
the
motor.
quarters.
But he'd
Yep.
spray it and go 460s. The thing is, a 460 door car is going to out mile an hour a 460 dragster by at least 5 mile an hour, maybe 7, because you're bringing it all on hot at the end. And the other difference is that 460 door car is going to be able to stop faster than that 460 dragster because it's got
Heavier.
those four discs.
Four discs. Yep. Yep. And it's heavier as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted to see what you thought about that, and we haven't even ventured off into dragsters yet, which I'm sure we'll get off into next. Both of us are pretty fond of them. You grew up junior dragster driver as well as I know you got a dragster in the garage somewhere, sitting around somewhere that you're going to put together pretty soon. So back to Sean Pinkerton's post there. He says it's always easier when you aren't racing week to week on paycheck to paycheck. If your
Exactly.
attitude is you have to win money to keep racing, the stress creates mistakes. Hey, that's
Exactly.
definitely spot on. If and me and Casey, we do the How to Tuesdays, and we really do um, most of our work here on this Going Bracket Racing YouTube channel is to kind of give as much how to and thought process to the beginning racer. And so I know you guys can hear me here. If you ever think about what did you deal with as a rookie to the sport, feel free and comment. And those are some of the things that we really want to get out and get into the light for the incoming racing crew. But I definitely can attest to what you're saying there because I'm not the richest man in the world. I definitely budget before I go drag racing. And if I'm kicking off into, let's say some bill money, I can see how my heart would beat a little bit faster, or I would be a little bit jumpier at the starting line to let go of that. I definitely don't want to lose something that I need. So thank you very much for your comments, Sean. Thanks for hanging in there with us. So Casey, what else? Well, let's get off into dragsters a little bit, and we can come back. We kind of go around in a circle if we want to, but dragster wise, what are you feeling? Speed? I really don't mind chassis. You can have your favorite chassis if you want to. It doesn't bother me any. Certainly, anybody in the chat, if you've got a favorite chassis, you got a favorite speed, let us hear about it. But Casey, what you got? Speed.
Man, I'd say as far as dragsters go, I really think anymore. I think everybody's stuff is so good. Like as far as builders go, um, I think that everything's been figured out. And if you have a 4-link dragster, I think that. Sorry, I was getting a work call there, so I had to not pay attention there for a second. But anyway, I have a car. It's I guess you'd consider it an off-brand car. It's not necessarily an off-brand car to me, and here's why. So I don't know if anybody knows a guy named Jeff Wilson. He races. He ran Alcohol Dragsters for a while and Alcohol Funny Cars. Long story short, he had a guy. His name was Jim Pulliam. I think he lives somewhere in Memphis now, and he totally designed. He engineered this entire dragster chassis. Like I'm talking, this shop was massive. It's something that you would expect to go to McAmus's shop or something and see this shop. And it's unfortunate that it kind of ended up being nothing. But there's 6 of those cars. I just bought that car back whenever I moved out to North Carolina. I talked the guy into selling it back to me. Man, I won a lot of races in that car. But I think that car was best whenever it was going about 470s. And the reason I think that was because you're never chasing too hard whenever you're like, we're talking about running dragsters versus dragsters right now. You're never chasing anybody too hard and you're never getting chased too hard because even a 440 car is only going to go maybe like 10 more mile an hour than me. So you're maybe catching somebody at 10 mile an hour and you might be getting chased at 10 mile an hour. Well, that you can learn that gap on the interstate. There's plenty of guys that try to pass you on the interstate. I mean, George, you live in Texas. You remember that time I was at your house and that guy passed us on the shoulder and we're going like 10 over. George looks down. He says, I said, George, are you going slow? Nah, man, we're going 10 over. This dude blows by us on the shoulder in that lifted F-250.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
But the point is, you're never fast enough. That's the point.
True. Hey, Sean says, let's throw in a wrinkle. Long or short?
Man, I'll tell you what. I think number one, the reason top fuel cars are so long is because the longer you are, the more stable you are. But as far as eighth mile goes, you're never going to get into that. I don't think. Like we're not trying to go 200 miles an hour bracket racing eighth mile.
Well, some of us are, but
PRA is. Mick Snyder, I mean, he's getting up there.
hey! I think old guy, he's got a silver blown dragster. I'm gonna call his name here in a minute, but man, I swear I saw him go 3-something, 4-something in the eighth mile.
Was it McIlvain?
No, it wasn't McIlvain. It'll come out in a second here. Anyway, give me a minute. I'll call his name in a minute. And
because McIlvain, that one that they built, I don't know if that's necessarily his or if he built it for somebody, but that's got a Mopar motor in it, so that's a feat in itself to get down the track that many times.
It's Laster, Travis Laster.
Travis
And
Laster.
man, that son of a gun is a bullet out the hole, and then it's gonna pull on you hard. And it doesn't matter if junior or senior is running it; it's gonna run in the low fours and faster than that if they wanted to, because it's a pro charged bracket car.
Yep.
So you like the 470s, huh? That's your kind of
470s is my spot,
money
man.
maker.
Well, the reason being, I think more than anything is I think 470s is the point that it's low 470s is the point that you're talking spending not cheap, but not a lot.
Sure.
Once you go past 470s, you're talking SR20, you're talking about special pistons, you're talking about maybe a blower, you're talking about a lot of stuff. That's that weird line, man. It's real hard to go from 470 to 460. It's real hard.
Gotcha. So I'm probably going to shock you with my long car, ET. Doesn't bother me which chassis I get in. Probably something my dad created, but 520.
520 in a dragster?
520. Why do I like the 520s? Because growing up and being around drag racing, the very first bit of winning, and we done it a few times back to back, was in a 525 orange innovative dragster. And if I had the time slips, your mouth would drop at how consistent that car did not vary a thou, maybe 2 thou, if the air stayed where it was supposed to. And if we caught that air, we dialed it for it in the first place. So something about that 520 range, to me,
well, you're never going to spin.
It's maximum consistency to me. I don't know why. 520 has been, not to say I don't like to go fast. Don't get that wrong. Hey, I'll bracket race however fast it takes to bracket race. I don't care, right? But
give me your wallet and I'll go real fast.
I mean, I don't care about that part. I'll go fast. But 520, you're always going to be chased. Number one, I already told you I don't like to be chased, especially with the door car, dragster split. You can pretty much chalk up a 520 dragster in the drag race we're watching today as you're leaving first. So in your mind frame, there's a lot of things that leave the door if you're leaving first. Number one, you don't have to remember nobody else's dialing. You know your light's coming down first. Okay, you dial your car the way you want it to run. You don't have to remember to put their dial in, or none of that stuff has to happen anymore. So you've essentially eliminated bullet points that you have to check off during the race or before.
And I can totally see what you're saying. I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but another pro to that topic is the fact that you're always being chased. And if you're always doing the chasing or you're always being chased, you can read that better. You don't have to do both things.
It's true.
You don't have to, for example, if you're remodeling your house, if you're a plumber and then you got to painting sucks, and vice versa. But if you have to do both, it really sucks. It's a lot harder to learn to do both.
Sure. No, definitely. That's where I'm at. That's where I want to be.
And don't forget about the fact, man. Don't forget about the fact that the car that actually started this channel, that was about a 520 dragster. And some of the tracks you go to, I mean, your normal everyday races, they're not separating door cars and dragsters. It's normal 99% of the time if you're not at one of these big races or at a bigger track. Like I go to Galata a lot. Glot has a lot of cars. They separate door cars and dragsters. But I go to Kinston, they're not doing that. You know, we're all running together. And 520 dragster is fast whenever you mix everybody together. It is fast car half the time.
So definitely. And I'm going to go back to the chat here. And thanks, Kevin. I didn't see your chat come through. He says, Kevin Little says 470 in a dragster is his good spot. Kind of consistent with yours, right? And then of course he helped me figure out Travis Lasser's name, Mr. Speedman himself, I might call him. But gee whiz, 4 flat in a bracket car that runs consistently that's getting it done, dude. So
and he makes rounds too. He's the guy that really opened my eyes to a lot of that, a lot of the boosted type stuff, because the problem always was is that boosted cars for years and years and years, you were towing them. And I'm not doing that, man. I'm not doing that. I told my dad already whenever he's building the Chevelle, this is kind of his last hoorah as far as building cars goes. He's built tons of cars over the years, and this is like his mecca of like what he did. Like this car he's building now, it's been like 5 years in the process. And that car, if you wanted that red tag that says up to 550 or whatever to go run Pro Mod, that's that car. Gotcha. We don't got the money for the motor to do that, but we are going to build like I'd say 555 or somewhere around there, Pro Charge motor for it. I mean, it's not going to be a slouch. But I told him, I said, we're going to be able to drive this around, right? And he says, yeah, we'll be able to drive it around. I was like, I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to get pushed around. I want to be able to have 440 on my dial board, and I want to drive up to the lanes. That's what I want to do.
If I've got to be honest with you, I've been at the same track with Laster a few times, and I'm pretty sure he drives his car to the lanes. He doesn't tow anything. So I don't know if they've just got to figure out how to keep that thing cool or what, but definitely. I've got Kevin Little saying we won races in Kinston Tobacco. And,
Tobacco Field Nationals, man. Yeah, I wish that I could go to Winterfest this year. I'm sure he'd probably be there. It's $175, I think, and it's $5,000 to win 2 days, man. Like, it's a deal. I don't think I'll be ready quite yet, but I will be. My first race I'm intending on going to, and it sounds like he'll probably be there too. I'm going to go to Coastal Plains to that Valentine's Day race or whatever. That's my first race I'm going to. So if you're there, man, come and look me up and say hey or whatever.
Hey, that's a long trip for Kevin. That's a long trip for Kevin Little. He's in the good old state of Texas. He ain't too far from me. Matter of fact, while you're doing that, we'll probably be either at Extreme Raceway Park or I-30 doing something.
I thought he was hanging out in my backyard for a second, the way he was talking.
He's out here in the good state of Texas with me, and that's where you should be actually too. So you know how that goes.
I'm in the wild, wild west of drag racing, as Mark Botzell says. So I'll stay where I'm at right now. You guys always are welcome.
That's true. So I'm gonna start you off with this question. We had a stream. It was earlier on, guys. If you missed it, hey, YouTube. It's got all of our archives, our lives that we've had. We had a stream that was about True Start. So does the conversation that we're having now, does it correlate into your feelings of True Start? Now, I know you said 470s, so most of the time you're gonna be leaving. I won't say most of the time because it's so mixed up right now, but majority of the time, I should say, you're gonna be leaving first, or should I say second, in a 470 car. So, or it's gonna be really, really stinking close. So I don't really.
Well, it's hard to say, man. So obviously 470 door car, I mean, you're going to be leaving first 99% of the time. And a lot of times if you run dragsters, you'll probably be leaving first too.
True.
And the other thing is, like I said, that mile an hour, I don't think people are used to that. I mean, I've ran a couple, I've ran Rod when he was spraying it one night and spraying the brains out of it. And we got down there, man. And I'm telling you, about 330, I mean, I'm a full dragster in front of him. And we're dialed about the same, you know. He actually might have been dialed faster than me. Like, it's almost like a throttle stop deal. And then all of a sudden, he just whoosh, and coming up on me. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like, oh, man, good thing I didn't lift yet.
He's coming on you hard, huh?
He's probably over there smiling the whole time.
So
I'd be in the car.
So does it change my opinion of True Start? Nah, I'm not a fan of True Start.
What?
I've never been a fan of True Start. You know me. I'm an old soul. If drag racing was intended or created and said the slower car, if you red light first, you lose, then so be it. That's just me. And at the same time, I've never really benefited from True Start. So ask me this year, come maybe March, May maybe, um, when I go race, if it's a True Start, if I still like it or not. Because if it benefits me, then I think my mind will then change. I don't think
Man,
anybody who races True Start likes True Start if it bites them, which is
I
kind of my problem.
I also think that anybody that goes red and the other guy doesn't go red. For example, George, remember this? Remember this? About second to last race of the year last year, I'm 10 red. You know what my guy is? 179.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
I
know
bet you
what?
was pretty mad about that one, Casey.
That that didn't make me any happier than if I was 11 and he was 10 and slower than me. I'm equally mad, you know.
Gee whiz. Nah,
Man,
man.
True Start though, I think that if True Start is not in use, obviously leaving second is an advantage. Nobody's going to argue with that. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, True Start is an advantage if you're the slower car. Well, I guess it's not necessarily an advantage per se, but it is. If True Start is not in effect, it is absolutely 100% an advantage to be the faster car. No one can. You can't argue with that. It is. That's
Absolutely.
the goal. That's the
Absolutely.
goal. That's why you want to be the faster car for
Absolutely.
all the years.
And
You
that's
know.
how it was created. It wasn't created any differently than that. Now we had this conversation, so we don't have to kind of kick it around too hard. But I did get a couple of good thought processes from our last stream there, and I did get a little bit of a thought process behind evening the playing field. I do like that a little bit, but until it benefits me, I don't like True Start.
Well, and not to go down a rabbit hole, but speaking of True Start, we had a comment from a guy named Leonard Cherry on the YouTube channel over there where we reside most of the time, talking about something along the lines of like, why do people dislike True Start to begin with, where the premise is obviously worst red is the loser, not the first red. But yet, no one has a problem with worst breakout loses. It's the exact same thing, you
Right,
know?
right, right. Um, hey man, and we got another comment here. First off, Kevin says he's from North Carolina originally, but he's still in the good state of Texas now. So yeah, that's irrelevant. No, I'm just playing. He says he's been bit by True Start, and I'm telling you, I don't know very many fans of True Start when they're the ones who are on the losing end
Well, who
of
is?
that.
If
Yeah,
you
right.
lose, who
So
is?
how, that's why I am the
But
way
if
I am.
you but if you were on the winning end, would you feel differently? You know you would. Be like, oh man, I love this. This is
I,
great.
it depends on what round it is. I guess if it's first round, I'm gonna feel sorry for the guys. I don't like it. But if it's like fifth round, sixth round, and we're talking about getting to a split or we're in big money, hey man, True Start, I will love you forever if you on my side. I hope you can hear me, True
I
Start.
bet.
You hear me? I'm talking to you.
I bet.
I'm trying to buy my way into it. So I don't know, man. What else we got going on today?
Man, the I think a lot of this stuff too has to do with the fact, like I said earlier, um, what are you doing the chasing by, or how fast are you being chased by? Because if I'm in a 4.0 dragster, which I never have been, anybody has one wants me to drive it, I'll drive it for you. But if you have a 4.0 dragster, and if I have a 4.0 dragster, you have a 7.0 door car, we're both guessing who's getting the stripe.
True.
Anybody who says they can see that, they're liars. I can tell you that right now. And vice versa. I mean, you can't judge. I mean, we're talking at that point, man. I mean, we're talking a 6.0 door car is maybe like 110, 112 mile an hour, and we're talking a 4.0 dragster is like 165 or something. You can't judge that. You can't judge that.
Nah. No,
I
I
mean,
don't think so.
we lived around St. Louis, George. I mean, we would go to St. Louis on the weekends in college, and there would be times on Saturdays we would get passed at somebody running from the cops 65, 70 mile an hour faster than us.
Right,
You
right.
can't judge that. You
No,
know,
you ain't judging that. And we're talking crotch rocket days too. So if we were on bikes, we weren't going 80. We weren't going 90. We were probably going 100. So if somebody passed us 40 mile an hour faster than us, running from the cops, well, that goes to show you that we weren't even moving, but we were still going 100 mile an hour.
dude, the other day, whenever the last time I went to Sturgis, we went from Sturgis all the way out to Oregon and came down the Highway 1 all the way down through LA and then came back through Death Valley all the way through, went to Vegas, then through Death Valley, and then went on and came back to Denver when I was living in Denver. And there's a speed limit there, but it's like 95 miles an hour through Death Valley. We were allegedly we were going 115, and there was a Ford Taurus that passed me.
SHO or what?
No, it was just a regular one, like foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, man. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, this goes to show you, no matter what, you're not going fast enough.
Hey, because the SHO is a pretty fast car. Now, don't sleep on the Ford Taurus SHO.
That was a
the shows are
regular one.
fast. Yeah.
And there was a what's the Toyota family car? That was right behind him.
Camry?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That thing was maxed out, I'm telling you. That thing wasn't having a good day.
So check this out. We got another comment in the chat from Sean. And this is a question, so listen up. In your opinion, is it judging the ET difference or the mile per hour difference? Is this why we see high gear setups becoming popular again? Or
It's
more
the mile
popular?
an hour. It's absolutely the mile an hour.
Absolutely.
I mean, why do you think Brandon Taylor to run 5.0s, he sprays it? I mean, he'll even tell you he dials to spray sometimes. He dials to run normal, high gear only, and stuff like that. It's absolutely the mile an hour difference because ET doesn't. Well, ET actually, I guess if you could run a throttle stop, you could effectively spray up to a point. It would be horrible on the motor because if it ever oversprayed, you're screwed.
Right.
But the point, nobody really does that. But anyway. Actually, you know what? I think the guy who, I don't know if he won the Super Comp championship, but he was definitely in the hunt for it. He was doing 890 at 120 mile an hour. Guess what? If you're, I think Ray Miller runs like 189 or something.
Right. A top
that's
dragster running
65 mile an hour on the other side of it.
Jeez.
It's mile an hour. Mile an hour makes the difference. It always has and it always will.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have to agree with you. The mile per hour is what's going to make the ET anyway, so I'd have to go with mile per hour. And I do see that these high gear cars are becoming popular again. I wonder, is that more of a consistency thing? I've never really done it myself, but you would think everything gets you leave a little softer in high gear, don't you?
I think Ken Jones did it for a while. I don't know if he's still in here, but I'm pretty sure he did that for a while in his dragster. Maybe at I-57 when it was short still, because he was going like 450s there in a hardtail.
And to slow itself down, huh?
Yeah, he's trying to slow himself down, but you still get the mile an hour for the most part. I mean, you slow a little mile an hour because you take it out of the leave, but you got to figure that motor's still running.
It's going to pick it out the back door. It's going to pick it up.
Yeah, it's just you killed it up front, and you effectively, in my opinion, you probably shortened the track 100 foot. As far as what your acceleration value is, something like that, because a race motor is much more efficient than a regular car.
Absolutely.
So once it gets in that power band, it's going to go.
Right.
No matter what. It just has to get to the power band.
Yeah, no, that was a great question, Sean. I actually never really gave much thought to that question, to be honest with you. But that's definitely a good question, and you're right about the relevance of high gear only cars. And I think I remember seeing Brandon Taylor after a race he had won. I don't know if it was in the purple car or not, but he said, number one, he said I wasn't going red, so I only put like one thou in the box. I wasn't really worried about going red light, even though it was finals. But then number two, he at one point I'd been watching him, he'd be 5.0, and the next race he'd be 470s, or dialed 480s, but can run 470s. So
Right.
Definitely, there has to be some merit to this high gear stuff.
And
Uh,
it's like Sean just said right here. This kind of validates what I just said. Having done high gear in the past, it's easy to kill 4/10, but you only lose 2 mile an hour. That's kind of what I'm talking about. You know, once you get in the power band, you're in it. It doesn't matter. You just got to get there. You know.
Yep. No, mile power is key. Mile power is key. Certainly, man. This has been a pretty fun topic. I'm not even going to joke about that. Of course, this is something that we expected to be a really good topic as well. I don't know where else we could go with this topic, to be honest, Casey.
Man, let's talk about this. Here's the thing that you can't deny is all these real big, insane races this year. They all got won by what we would consider slow door cars. Now, to be fair, Jeff Serra's car that he was running was not supposed to be a slow door car, but it worked out for him. So it
True.
doesn't really
What was the car running? 550s at first, or was it running faster than
I
that?
think it was running 30s. It might have almost been running 20s.
And he threw something out that motor and had to change it overnight, and all of a sudden, he's moving. He's
Yeah.
Gee
Going
whiz.
about a second slower.
Hey, this year has been the year. Even though I have to be honest, I've always been a fan of Chevy 2s, but
Oh,
I'm definitely a fan of the Chevy 2 now. There's no hands,
Look at
no
this,
thoughts about it.
George. Side note. I mean, I agree with you, but side
Yeah,
note,
yeah.
we got one of our previous guests, Jerry Bonifield, on here. He's probably working on his EFI right now. I can tell you that for a fact.
he says he was looking at YouTube and taking the transmission out of the race car for your dad.
For my dad to work on it.
Right.
That doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry. He was. I think he's having. I don't know if he's having my dad rebuild his regular one, or if he's had. Well, obviously, I guess he's having him rebuild his other one. But I know he was getting some parts list for. I thought was for his spare. Maybe he must be doing it for his normal one now.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Jerry, thanks for what you did earlier. By the way, we've got a lot of views on Jerry's video explaining how to work on the Holly EFI system and kind of explaining how it works. I mean, we got tons of views on that. That's probably the most viewed video on Going Bracket Racing right now as far as time goes.
Yeah, definitely. And stay tuned for part 2, everyone. It's coming. It's just a timing deal going on right now. But part 2 to that, of course, will deal with the data loggers and things like that. So tune into that. We'll have an event posted and let you guys know when that is. So yeah.
Jerry's going to be on and explain to us about how to use data logging and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a really good one. Jerry is a college teacher, so needless to say, he can break stuff down to the point where even guys like me and you can understand it, George. So
I get it.
It benefits all of us.
I might not have known much about that EFI, but that when it comes to data logging, I'm ready for that. I'm ready to hear more on that one. I'm just a data junkie. You can call me a nerd if you want to. I wouldn't be offended. That's okay. I'll take it. So definitely. But I don't know, man. What do you think? To end the stream, what you got it? Unless you got something else.
Well, let's go back to what we were talking about here. So door cars have won just as much, if not more, big races this year than dragsters have. I mean, I would say it's probably equal, but is that due to who's driving the cars, or is that due to the fact that it just, like I said, you can buy more tent cards because you didn't spend as much money in the car? What do you think on that? Like, I mean, does it matter if Jeff Serra or Scotty Richardson or Steve Sisko or Nick Hastings or whoever, does that matter who's in the driver's seat?
Yeah. I think that I will say this here, that it always is going to play a factor to who's driving the car. Or who they're driving the car for. We had a conversation even on this stream just a little bit ago about racing whenever the dime is ours. Well, I'm not a rich person. I'm not well off. I'm okay, but I'm not well off. You know what I mean? So if I'm racing for somebody else, that's going to play a factor. Well, there's a lot of people out here who have pretty big names. If I'm not mistaken myself, Steve Sisko won in somebody's car and then jumped in somebody else's car the next day and won
Yeah.
again. So it's like
That's Steve Cisco. That's not the car.
I mean, we're talking. I think you can put him in my Prius outside. He'll probably win. Is what I'm getting at, if you know what I'm saying. So
Probably.
I mean, he might not have fun doing it, kind of look weird, but I bet he wins. I put money on it. Anybody want to gamble? Anybody? No. Okay. We got another question in the chat here. Check this out.
Probably.
Let's check this question out. I think you're gonna like this question. And I hope Jerry's still in here too. Speaking of data loggers, opinions on drive shaft sensors at bracket races.
Man, that's a good one. And to be quite honest with you, I really think that number one, I think that you could cheat using them. Yes, I do think you could cheat using them, but I also think you could cheat using a lot of things, man. There's a lot of smart people in the world, and there's a lot of people with a lot of money in the world that can teach someone that. And in my opinion, really, if you want to get down to the fact of literally saying we know nobody's cheating, basically, then you have to get rid of data loggers, period, all of it, because you can hide so much stuff and everything. I mean, you could pay someone in China. We all know this. You could pay someone in China beans, and they could invent something for you. I mean, look at all the apps on your cell phone right now. Anything you want to know right now, you can find an app on that.
Right.
You can find anything you want to find on YouTube. In my opinion, I really don't think anyone is cheating. Not at big events. I think, honestly, if you're going to cheat, you're going to go cheat at regular races, because they're not going to have a tech guy that can even know. And can you imagine this, George? Let's just imagine this. Let's say you go to an SFG. Let's say you go to a what's Britton Galen's deal? Guarantee million, but like,
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody on here knows what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
just can't call it. Yep.
One of Britton Galen's races, or any race above $10,000. Can you imagine what would happen if you really got caught cheating? You're not just going to get kicked out, if you know what I mean. Like, no one's going to do that. I honestly don't think people are cheating. I think people use that as an excuse as to why they got beat, and someone's on a hot streak. Hunter Patton got tore down, several, at least one time this year. Kyle tore him down. He had a specific guy looking for cheating devices, and guess what? Hunter Patton still went on to kill everybody all year.
All year long, man.
So, racer.
Hey,
it's a good race. It's what it is. Admit it,
I think if let's put it this, my thought process on drive shaft sensors is, if they're being banned at one race, then that means somebody has enough data to say this is a device, or this is a facet of data logging and engine information sharing that is going to give you the ability to do something that I don't want to allow in my race. If one person does it, everybody should do it. That's the way I see it, because it's effectively telling me, number one, I don't have enough money to have a drive shaft. I don't have that type of a setup in my car.